Can you tell us a little bit about how you found your team? Because you're in a really great position. Like they take care of a lot of stuff for you, and you have really stepped away from the operations of self-storage, um, which has to be a really cool feeling. And so I'm kind of curious as to how you developed this team. And then the last question that I have after we touch on that, I want to, if you're willing to share, and you kind of alluded to some of this earlier, but I'd like to know, I'd like to know numbers as far as like what your portfolio is worth at this point and get a little bit personable with you.
On my first facility, I got very fortunate and hired a lady named Terry, and she was my boots on the ground. And I was supposedly running the place, but I didn't know shit. Mike had just told me last week what to do. And so I'm kind of winging it. And Terry was very, very good. She had been in storage before for a while. And so she knew, when I did due diligence, she was there when, I hired the person that was there. And when I went in due diligence, I said, well, what's wrong with this place? Why is it 25% full? And she was like, well, you need to do this, and basically my whole business plan. I was like, okay. But when I sold that place, the people who bought it were not going to keep Terry. They had another facility in the area that they were going to lump this in with. And knowing how good she was and having on my vision that I wanted a team to run everything, I hired Terry to run everything, even though I didn't actually have everything yet. And I basically had to hire her for not much money and ask her to trust me that it would work. And so she worked pretty cheap for a while. And then it put the ball in my court to buy more facilities so that I could pay her more. So the lesson is I hired from within. I took a boots on the ground, and this is what we've repeatedly done. Some boots on the ground are just enough to get by, and some cream rises to the top. When the cream rises to the top, snatch them and bring them into the bigger picture. When we built the call center, we did the same thing. We took some of the best people in the call center and moved them up the ladder and had them start training the new ones and stuff like that. And so mainly I just, as I hire people and I deal with people, if I see someone that's sharp, if I see someone good, if I see someone that gives a shit and it's not just a job, I'm not letting them go. I'm going to do what I got to do to keep them on my team. Even if I don't need them yet, I'll build the organization to help pay for them, because I think it's easier to buy storage than it is to find good people.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's funny you say that, because I'm in that phase right now where we do have a boots on the ground who was good enough and got the job done, but we're seeking for somebody we're looking for somebody to do more at this point. And it's funny too, because earlier you had mentioned as far as rates go, right? So like you didn't have the prettiest facility and you thought that you couldn't charge enough, but people really don't care what the property looks like. And our property today, like my boots on the ground has really stepped away. Like the grass is getting long, there's weeds, and I see it on the cameras, and like I get frustrated with it because that's not how we want our facility to look. But people are still renting out units, and we keep raising the street rates, and they keep renting them out. And I'm like, why are you guys, it's crazy. And
they're not going to every single facility in person.
Right.
And they ain't moving in. They're going to put some stuff in there and they're going to go home.
They don't have to live there. Right.
I'm not saying you let everything go. I'm just saying you don't have to charge less. Like for me, my big hang up was the gravel. There's gravel compared to pavement. And there was places in the gravel that when it rained a bunch, made a huge puddle. And I thought that was horrible. And I thought, wow, anybody would rather rent that one than this one. So obviously it's got to be worth more per month. And I was just flat out wrong. Just flat out wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.